I do believe and agree with you that, and this person you met with, that I think specific governments will want to have their use cases and their data for no other reason than the citizenry's, imagine that they're protecting themselves and having all of their data for, which might be their, a social security type data or those sort of things, and some healthcare data, although the healthcare data doesn't all sit in government systems, as most people know. So there's going to be a little bit of bleeding across that, but I think that's likely going to be the case. But not every one of the countries is going to develop their own LLM for their country. I think they'll end up licensing instances of it and then ultimately applications of it for specific use cases in those countries.
Robert, there's a stat I came across recently saying that 75% of all S&P 500 companies were mentioning AI as a buzzword in their earning calls.
Mhm.
Jamie Dimon said recently, this AI thing is not a hype. This is real. When we had the internet bubble the first time around, when you founded Vista, that was hype. This thing, AI, is not a hype, it's real. Gardner, on the other hand, the famous inventors of the hype cycle, just published recently that we are at the peak of inflated expectation when it comes at least to generative AI. So, what is your view? Any word of caution, or where are we in the hype cycle?
That's a great question. When I look at the actual productivity gains that can be realized from utilizing Gen AI in specific environments, again, the use cases and environments that I live in, it has tremendous capacity. Tremendous capacity. It actually has the potential to deliver even enhanced ROI to the customer set utilizing this technology. So that's point one. Point two, we are also seeing that it actually expands the TAM of certain of the businesses. In some cases, i.e., it now creates a product that they otherwise could not offer, or in an expansion of a market that they otherwise could not reach. Now, the question is, do those markets have the capacity, the capability of paying? I'll call it the fair share of economic rent. That's to be determined. So it's hard to say where are you in the hype cycle, because they say, well, this is great potential, but can they afford it? Can a customer actually afford what it takes to get this utility, even though it has an ROI? That is going to take some time to play out in my mind. With all that said, I will say that there are very few technologies that I have seen that have that sort of enhancement in the ROI for the products that they can. Just remember, I actually think it's going to be the companies that have stuff that they can apply Gen AI to that have the potential to capture the vast majority of the economic rent. Now, if you don't have something to apply it to, you've now got to think about how do you either create a new market or disintermediate somebody who's already in that market. And if people haven't created the sovereignty and dominion of the data, it has a higher likelihood of disintermediating that market. If they own that data or they own the use case of it, and the industry participants understand that they are better off with trusted providers of Gen AI solutions who have been managing their data and keeping their data safe for decades in many cases, they'll capture the vast majority of the economic rent long term. All of these cycles, as you know, occur. There's this massive, ebullience early on. At some point in time, the realization comes to, wait a minute, it's not all that we say, oh, I don't need all of that.